Hey, hi guys. In this video, what we are going to do is we will be creating an automated pipeline to post content on a Facebook page. So the idea is to use Python to source news from trending news articles from Google News, and then create a news image, meaning we would have a photo and then the title of that whatever news image news that is there on the top, and yeah, and then to create that image in the Python as well, and use the Facebook graph API to post the created content piece as well as the content photo pic as well as any information related to that on Facebook using Facebook graph API. So let's get started, and before that let me show you what is the end result image that what we are looking at, what we are trying to achieve at. So something like this, where we have a news image and the title of the news, possibly a description, and also the link to read more for the article that we have got the information from. mm, okay, but when you see the images that we get are might be of different sizes, and we would have to stick to the Facebook standard ratio that is mentioned. So yeah, we'll look at more in more detail when the time comes up for the image part, but this is the gist of it. And yeah, let's get onto it. So first what we would be doing is to create source the news from Google News. So in case you do not know, Google has this website where Google News, where it tries to give information from various news websites such as NDTV, NI, and in different languages of the top news or news based on different categories. So we would pick these news articles. Okay. So for whatever we are trying to do, we are trying to use this service called Replit.com, which is it gives us kind of a IDE form of and by the way, we would be sourcing Kannada news in this. So this is basic where Repl is just an IDE which is hosted on cloud. We can think it like that, and we can create it in different, not just in, we can create it in different languages. I mean, different language as its source, basically. Okay, so the we'll be getting news, we'll be creating image, and then oops, and then we would be using graph API. Okay, cool. Let's get to the news part. Okay, so I've looked at previously of what are the Python packages that instead of we going to the website and going to the Google News website and scraping the articles, it would be easier for us to see if there is a package, Python package that already does that. So I've seen and I've checked it, and this thing seems to be something that we are looking at. What this does is that this package, based on the topics, we can give information such as language, location and topic, and also number of results. We would get information as in payload information as in this form, which we could use for the further pics and news meme kind of a thing. Okay, let's I will keep this on the side to bring information. Sorry if you might not see this. Okay, cool. So from what is there, okay, let me pick the exact thing. So we would want for Canada and client. And then so this is all there in the documentation from where I am sourcing it from. Yeah, before that we have to import that. I'm trying to use this way because so that we need not go inside. Each time call GNews client and GNews client, we are directly importing it with from. Okay, we do not have is so replit. Let me tell you briefly what this is about. So we write code here and we can run and see the output here, and this is normal shell if we which can be used as like in any command prompt that we would use. uh, this works as in different way where it has packages that can be installed. Yeah, here packages, and we can write Unix client directly, and then from that Python we can install it and we get that directly. Just that for safe side, for downloading the right package, because sometimes names can be different, or else the name can be genius client, but the way the pip install would use might be of a different name, so just don't want to play around with that. So we'll go with the command line way of trying to install the package. Okay, it is asking us to install something else as well. We'll keep imports on the top and just keep the functionality as that. Later we would actually, like, we can do that. We can keep this as uh, just so that it doesn't get complicated to look at. We'll try to modularize things. So whatever we are trying to do, we'll keep the purpose for it as in each function, and then try to bring each function to be used in an other purpose that we would be doing. Okay, hopefully this should have read timeout retrying. Okay, try. I did not install it through these packages. Seems like it retried itself and got it. Okay, the why we do not see any result as such is we are not printing anything. Okay, let me go back to the documentation. Might be possibly wrong. It is actually just checking if this is working. Okay, it's not even okay, so we have to call this. Though we have created the function, it has to be called. Okay, this is as expected. We are getting an URL, we are getting a title, and we are getting site name as well, which we do not want. News link, image width, we are also getting an image. Okay, cool. Now we'll go to the next part. Okay, well, at least let's try to see whatever we require in here. We would require okay, let's go back to the image. If you can see, we require four things. One is the title, two is the image, three is the description, and four is the external link if someone wants to read further. Okay, let's bring those four. Let's print those out first, whatever we require. And also, this seems to be too many things that have been shown. Okay, this is like one. We would have things that we would require. I'm seeing that in the documentation of whatever that is required. Like we'll go through each article at once. We would want title. This article through each article and print. We are printing for now, but we would be using for some other purpose later. uh, Not just printing but doing the other things as well. Let's not write it that way. Then, so what this is essentially doing is, since we have many indexes, I can say each index would stand for one piece of article. We are taking each article at once and then bringing information as URL once, title once, and then storing it in a variable so that it would be easy for us to work with. Then we would want description. Then we would want URL. Image, URL, title, and then description. We have everything. If you want, we can print this. Fully, this would go on to the next line every time, so we can see everything, but possibly in a neat format. Okay, is this Kannada? I don't think so. We'll check. If I understand right, there's no Kannada news. Okay, Kannada news is not supported. Okay, we can do for Malayalam. The idea is to look out for one niche audience, create content for that, hopefully, so that we have an audience who knows what to expect from the page. Yeah, this seems to be uh, very confusing in the URL. I mean, in the editor, but this is fine text. Okay. Now that we are getting news, we have to make the image part of it. before getting so what all we have here, let's try to write um, you would want the actual image to be downloaded, because what we have is in form of URL. The other thing that we have to do is to create the text that is required on the top. Even that has to be in form of JPG, text JPG. We'll call that as text JPG. The other one, what we would call that as, so basically it is trying to stitch things, right? Stitch two images. We'll stitch the two images. Now that we have an URL in place, we'll try to download that. And also I see at places there is no image as such, so we have to be careful that only that if we have some image, then we would have to proceed. Otherwise this would give us like none as a it will be stored as none, and handling it would get difficult without having proper try catch, try except kind of a thing in Python. Okay, so let's suppose this is working fine. We would want to go to that URL and then download the image. So we would be using Python requests package. Basically this tries to call the get methods or the post methods that we would want to implement in the in our functionality anywhere. Here what we would want is to get that image uh, from that URL. We'll store that as whatever we get through that. Okay, this is what it is. It might get difficult to handle. Uh, so what we would do is to keep this in try catch so that we can handle this exception and say that there is no image there for us to know that it could not bring the image there. After stating that to us, it will go on to do the rest of the process without uh, further error, kind of like that. So basically we are writing to we'll write it in try except. It will try to get the information from the URL, otherwise it would go to the except zone. There we would write there is an image exception But then I also think once we have an exception to that, the image is not working well, then it should not do whatever we are trying to do below. I mean, downloading the image, creating image, putting onto Facebook. It should not do so. By writing continue here, it will try to forcefully go to the next article, exiting the process here, existing the process for this article uh, exclusively. Okay. Yeah, one more thing. So response would contain many information. Yeah, just 200 stands for this status. Yeah, it was able to get the response, but to see what's there in the response, we would have to write the content part. Okay, it is trying to write everything what how the image is there, or else the whole web page kind of a thing. So let's not print this out. Here we would believe that at this point that the image response, if it is working, then that means to say uh, yeah, if it's working, that there is some possibility of us to to download the image. So how we would download the image is through one more package called url lib. Yeah, that's the name. Url lib request. So this is also other form of trying to request things, but in another package where it will give the functionality for whatever we are trying to achieve here, that is to download the image. We can actually check for none if the URL is none and escape, but we would also want to be more careful that whatever request that we are going in, when that website is working. So two things would be done with this request, which is of not that costly a process. So we are trying to approach that way. Okay, we are getting the image, so successful, but let's be more careful here as well. We never know the kind of We never know the kind of restrictions that are there on the other websites. Sometimes it would be much more secured and doesn't allow to uh, retrieve information from the website. So if that is the case, we would continue our process by have trying to handle this exception and continue. Now that we are getting image at each instance, the next process is to create uh, the top part of the image where we have the title written on the image. We have title. So one exception, since we are working with a regional language, uh, for Python to write that onto image, it requires much of the uh, we can say much of the resources from wherever we are working on, and whatever we have in here is of less usage. And also we would have to install external libraries into the system, which sadly we cannot do in this replit because it won't allow us to go to that level of system, that level of system that we can change things. So there's another way we can do. What we can do is we can write whatever we wanted to write in form of HTML code, and the HTML code can be run on as any website, and then take the screenshot of that website and then you use that as an image. So this seems to be like a very different approach, but this seems to be working is what I believe. So let's try to get that approach. We don't want to go into we just want to get things done instead of trying to do it in the best possible way. So let's not dig through this replit kind of environment and have it the right setup. We'll do whatever is required here. So how we would do that is using Python Selenium package. So Selenium is used usually to go visit websites and do whatever operations that you want to do on that website. Basically we would want to create one website image and then take screenshot from that website. So Selenium would also create the browser that is required for us inside. So yeah. Import Selenium. And then we want to start a web browser. Uh, so we can run the web browser in any by giving different parameters how the web browser can look like. So that we can give it as options in Selenium. So we'll try to utilize those options and create browser accordingly. As in our use case, we do not once we try to test things around, we would know that this is working, then we do not need to have that display in the output here, because that will eat up much of the resources. We'll have it running on the background. So having to that that as an option in Selenium is called headless. So we can use those kind of options. Selenium. There are a few things that we have to import uh, along with the options. So we'll try to import all those real quick and then go to the next part. Each thing is will be used for some. So let's suppose by we would want to uh, go. Let's suppose first thing we would be doing is to go to the website, load the HTML that we would be creating, and then take the screenshot. So I'm looking at the Selenium documentation for these imports. Okay, done. Let's write this outside so that we do not want a new browser to be created each time when the functionality is running. I mean, for each definition or for each article, we do not want to stop the browser, create new browser, because that would also be much more intensive for this CPU. So I was telling you, right, where we can not see the browser. We need not see the browser and have things to be done at the in the background. We'll try to import that option. That is headless. Okay, there are few other things that we would require. Let me bring that from documentation. Okay. And if you see, whatever image that we would want should be of a size. The size for Facebook, whatever image that we would want, is of 1200 by 1200. We are taking a square image for this, and let's keep 80% for this. So whenever we are trying to create browser, we will try to create accordingly with the right size. First, before that, we'll create a driver. Okay, this should initialize the driver for us. And let me show you how we can get how it would look. Let's suppose we want to go to some website. time, let me try to see how we can get the HTML done. I mean HTML code where it will display whatever text we would want in Malayalam to be visible in that web page. Now it's trying to install. No module selenium. One second. Okay, it unexpectedly exited. Self process. Okay, WebDriver line number 49. Okay, inside WebDriver. Okay, one second. Seems like the Selenium driver is unable to be installed in the replit. So I'm trying to use another packages to restart the REPL. I faced this before, so recloning or reforking it would work with something that has been already. Uh, this is basically like an internal replit kind of a problem, which I also faced recently. So just forking it with something that has already worked before uh, is a way to go. So let me see if I just don't want to disclose whatever that was written before. So yeah, see if this works. Yeah, this seems to be working. So it's just the same code. I try to refork it. So forking meaning trying to create another kind of a instance, not an instance, copy the code and all the settings that we have here, so that we can work on a different project basically. So I just reforked it and it seems to be working. See, it went to google.coin, and whatever we wanted to do, it will do. Okay, now we'll try to set the window size. Since we are thinking of 1200 and 1200, but we do not want the height to be also of 1200, let's keep 80% of it. So 80% is something around 240. Okay, now you can see it became the kind of size that we want. And then as I typed, there was one resource where I found where we can I mean the HTML piece of code where it will try to show whatever the text in the regional language that we write will come up. So let me try to show you that. So this is a code. Basically we can take one of the font that is of regional language, put the text that is required, take some part of the code. Even I do not understand what this means, sadly. Yeah, this way. So this way we would get the text as well as on the top part. Okay, but there are few things that we have to change in here. The text would change always, and also most importantly the font size will also change. So we'll try to create variables in such a way that this would be one part, this would be the second part, and this would be the third part. So let's use these kind of variables. That resource already did that thing, so let me just instead of using it that writing the whole thing again, we'll try to copy paste it. Okay, so if you can see, the HTML1 tries to do up till the font size. HTML2 will leave space for concatenation where we would for the font size to be determined, and HTML3 is the rest of the part and where we will give the heading in the middle part of it. Okay, we'll proceed further, and the next thing what we have to do is to determine the font size that we would want. Since the title would be of different length at different points, so what we can do is to create this into two parts and have one line, I mean the next one line half and the next line to be the other half. So we'll add hyphen n. So hyphen n represents the next line in the string in Python. So we'll try to insert that at the half length of the words, and then yeah, we'll determine the number of words that are there in each sentence. The greatest of the sentence, we have two sentences and each sentence would be of different number of words. We'll take the highest number of words line, and then determine number of words that are there in that, and automatically try to increment the font size accordingly. before that, we'll try to download one font. Not a sans, not a serif. We'll wait for this to download, and let me open this and then extract it. Came back. Okay, this is noto serif. I'm not sure if that is pronunciation for that. We have used that for Tamil before. I mean, in the text, in the resource that we have found, it was for Tamil. So let's change that to. Let's be careful with the names. Let's see if this works. Yeah, this works. Now the extracted will have this true type font which we would be using. This is like one of the server that we have with full functionality of whatever a server can do. So we can upload files, we can download files, and then utilize the same files. So let me insert. We have another true type font. Let me delete that. So based on number of words that we have, we will try to increase or decrease the font size. That we can do by first splitting whatever text that we have just as in title. Try to split it. So split, what it does is tries based on the delimiter that we can give, it will try to split one sentence into different words. mm, so where it has to split, basically a sentence will consist of words separated by space. So if we want to divide at places of space, we would have to give the delimiter as space. So that's what delimiter essentially means, and this split functionality takes in delimiter as required in such a meaning. Okay. Defaultly space is split delimiter. I can show you if that is required. And let's keep font size as 9 for now. See, let's suppose, okay, this is the news title and it has divided at places of space. Though it's not very evident here, we can find that it to be evident here. In Hanuman monkey, where we have a space, we have a split. We can also have based on number of words, we can increase this font size that we have set. Okay, for that, let's suppose the length is 11. We would have to increase it only that. This 11 would go on to 2 lines. I think let's not create it as a new line. Let it decide for itself where it has to split. I don't think it would overflow. If it overflows, then we'll see. By overflow, I mean in the web browser space that we have set as a size 1200 into 240. Will it go further away from the screen that it won't be visible? Then there would be the right need to split it into 2 lines. I mean, having to have the next line character at the middle. Otherwise, if it tries to take care of that, I believe that it would take care, because we have because we if whatever whenever we see the HTML code as in headline, it will try to go to the next line h1 tag. Okay, so let's suppose the length is 11. It's like five words. Let's keep this a bit more. There are 5 words. If the length is less than, in an ideal scenario, we would want to see 8 words. No, 5 words. Okay, 7 words. If the length by 2 is less than 7, then it would be 15. The length something like 26. I believe it has to increase accordingly. Let's keep this. We'll write only length and font size. Let's suppose the length is length by 2 directly. There are 2, then 1. The length is 2, then we would have 1. The length is, let's start from 3. So 357 essentially means there are 6 words in total, 5 words in total, 7 words in total. Then 3 should have the highest of the size. The highest of the size, let's suppose it would be around 50, and it should decrease the we never know if it should start from 50, but we can at least write the decreasing element. More words, the font size should be less. Okay, let's suppose we have this number. How should we arrive at? We can write greater than 9. So greater than 9 should be a fixed number, and from there on we'll try to whatever we have. Let's suppose it's 9. Whatever font we have, we'll try to minus it with 9. Sorry, length. Given that supposedly this is greater than less than 0, then font size is 20. So 9, let's suppose it is equivalent to 0. Okay, we'll make this as when the length is 7, it should be, it will be 2. And equals to, okay, we figured it out. So 9 minus length, whatever is the value, still some more analysis is required here. 9 minus 3 is 6. When it is 6, we just want it to be 50. Instead, we can say, let's not make it 60 here. For each thing, we can write as 20 plus the number into 5. Here 4 5 is 20. Here 6 5 is 30. Okay, it seems to be working. We'll try to store this somewhere. Length of words. Should be sentence. Whatever length of sentence, whatever we have, we'll try to minus it with the 9. Let's not divide it by 2 and instead of having to divide it by 2 here, we'll try to increase only 2. We'll multiply it with 2. 9 minus length of sentence. Okay, we have difference in length, and then difference in length. We'll try to write when the difference in length equals to 0, then this something like this. If difference in length, but this has to be increased, right? Plus First multiply it with 2 and then add it to 20. Well, we can tweak these numbers at the end when we'll see the end outputs. Okay, we got the font size up till now. Some font size we got. And let's define the canvas that we would want. So the canvas for this should be for whatever image that would be. This is the whole size. So let's create a resized image for this. So first we'll try to create canvas size for only this part where 960 by 1200. That whatever we have done is an image for is for the web browser size but not the images size. So let's so there is something called as PIL package which we would be utilizing for this. Let me search the right import statement from the docs. Okay. This is where we can draw text on an image. So drawing can be a text or an image on an image kind of a thing, or also we can write a font. But this package is what I was talking before. Though it gives that functionality to write font, it works for English language well, but for Indic languages it seems to be requiring external packages to be downloaded into our external system. Yeah, we do not want font for now. We'll create this 1200 and you have to write it on the top part. So top part is will have the whole width of 1200 but using only 240 odd. If it's 1200 pixels then it is 240 part of the height. Okay. I'll use the pill package of image to create a new image, and it takes parameters of mode size and colors. So whatever images that we have is it's basically RGB mode. It takes just the regular colors. We do not want it in black and white. We would want the text to be in yellow color kind. So now and we'll paste the image that we will take the screenshot of. screenshot image and we want to paste it from the top corner, top place. Anyway, we have cut that. I mean, we have cut that according to 240 and everything. So it will try to put the black. So when there is an image of 1200, though we have taken screenshot of 1200 by 240, it will, and when it starts to try to write from the 00 coordinate, it's the top part. So it will try to draw here and put whatever it is required. Anyway, we are going to replace that with the image that we have downloaded, and we will resize that as well according to whatever we require, and we have to take the screenshot for that. So we'll try to work on that part now. This is just for font image that we want to do, but let's take that next. After that, first we want to take the screenshot of the image. So to take the screenshot of the image, we have to start the browser, which we did already before. We would have to create the HTML. We have the parts of 3 HTMLs. In here we have the 3 HTMLs, but we have to concatenate it accordingly with the title that we have. So we'll create the final HTML where we would want to concatenate all the 3. After the first one, we would have to decide on the font size, and after, let's create, since the font size would be in integer, we will going to convert that into string. And after that, we would want to add the title. So after this, we are giving after HTML1, given the font size. After HTML2, we have to give the heading where we are giving the title. Once we have this, okay, we have arrived at the font size later. So at this point, we have the font size. Now with whatever driver we have, we'll try to execute that HTML script. So even HTML is a script, and we want to execute that in this driver. So there is an inbuilt function called execute script, where we would give the text of a final HTML. But when we try to queue as in this form, since we are trying to open the browser only once and try to feed this data of HTML each time, we would have to clear things out. So let's not write it directly. We'll write a small JS query here itself, where it tries to write it. Basically first opens the file, writes whatever it is there, and then close it. So whatever we are closing, we'll do it in the script level itself instead of closing the whole browser itself. Okay, first whatever document that we have, we would want to open that. and then this is JS JavaScript that we are writing. We'll write whatever HTML text that we have as an argument here. We'll come back to that later. Then we want to close that. Right, we have to have this final document parameter taken. We'll since this is a zero, uh, this is a, so this basically these are arguments. For this to take excuse me, for this to take this part of the argument instead of directly writing in here, and it won't be taken because of this would be considered as a string on the whole. We are writing it this way. Nothing fancy. This is just pure JavaScript that we have written here. And then we want to screenshot. Yeah, screenshot. There it will take the screenshot of the driver, and we have to give the file name. Okay, we'll see. I think we should also let the document, let the script run, so it might take time. Let's see if that works out or not. Yeah, okay, we should be, yeah, that's what. Don't have that image. We'll just give 2 seconds for it to load. Seems like it is taking time. JavaScript argument is not defined. Okay, we got the text. It should be s added. It's arguments, not a just argument. Just found it when I googled around. Okay, this is what it would require. Okay, fine. This seems to be good. Can this be more? We'll see that later. Since we have this ready, we'll go back and try to resize. Okay, whatever the idea that we have for this is that not every image would be in this kind of a size. So we are ready to sacrifice this part or these parts of the corner of it. We allow that to be black based on image size, or else yeah, we are only sacrificing this part, not this part. And as much as it can grow or decrease, it would decrease on here and then come down. That means to say it would start drawing whatever image that we have as a resize from here, this point. And this, let's suppose this is the middle point. We want to have the other half from here to here. That's the idea. So let's try to code it. Mm, okay, this is how we will have the output image. Since we cloned from the other thing, we have some external files, but let's not think about that because anyway we are not utilizing them. Okay, let's once we have the screenshot, we are trying to resize the down part. We are done with the topmost part. We're trying to do the down part. Okay, so the down part image, down part of the image section should be of a height 12,000 minus this section, so 1200 minus 240, and so the height should be constant, the width has to change, so we are not compromising on the, we are compromising on the height so that there can be some black zone but not the width. Okay, so let's get the image, try to know its dimensions, and then how far the image has to be enlarged or decreased to be compact compacted. We'll try to determine that. So we can take either of it as a height or width. So let's not write the width that is required. We'll upscale, like we'll enlarge or down, make it compact based on the ratio that we get from one calculation. Let's suppose the image is also 960 of height, then and the ratio is of 1 is to 1. The enlargement should be 100%, 1 is to 1 meaning. Let's suppose this is half than 960, the original image. 960 by half, 480, then the image size would be 1 by 2, 1 is to 2, or 2 is to 1. 1 is to 2, that means to say it has to be decreased halfway, both in height and width, so that we can fit it. Okay, first we'll get the image. We'll open the image and then get the get the sizes of it, height and width. So what did we save this as? We save this as img.jpg. img.jpg. We'll get the width as well as the height. So there, let me write it down so that it would be neat. So what we want to do is to, whatever the aspect ratio that we have to enlarge or compact, that we have to do, and after once we got the values, we have to resize the image and then obviously paste it. We'll do this later. We'll do this later, so let's not write that. Whatever image section height is there by whatever the image height we have. Forgot to say, this image dot size will have two values, the image width and the height, and also other values, one, but we are only taking these two. Okay, now once we have this, we would have to resize it. So resizing, the resized version of an image can be done when we give the image as an input, and the height or the width that the image should be, the new image should be there. So we'll try to create then. Whatever width that we have to increase or decrease based on the aspect ratio. Now that we have the two values, we would have to resize it. We have opened the image, so we'll not reopen it again. We'll use the same thing. What parameters does this require? Basically, it would require the height and width and the type. Let me see the docs for this. Sometimes the values might come and float here, so and even this has to be handled appropriately. So I see that. Okay, it requires some other mode that I see on the docs. Even I'm not sure what does this mean, but seems like this is required for it to resize. Now that we have the new width, new height, and an image with the new width and new height, we should be able to draw that from the center point of from the center point of the height. See, we have drawn this image. Let's suppose this is an image. We have start from 0.0. Actually, in the later part, we would do 0 by 0. But then this has to be also uh, drawn from some point. Let's try to write that point as well. We are not compromising on the width, so the width would be fixed. So it would be from the half center, whatever it is here, it would write. So at least let's write that. We'll write offset. Offset is the point where you're starting. We're trying to start the drawing. Yeah. So it should start from the half, right? So when we are drawing, we would start from the half part of the width, though it's not changing, but the starting point should be the half of the width. And let's not do it later. We'll try to Since we have not handled it later part, here in the width we have downgraded but not converted this into int at this point, and we are changing it in here. So let's change it as well here. Let's suppose this is the bring that image. We have started drawing from 0 0 here. You have to start from 0 to this part. This is 1200 and this would be 80%. Is it 240 or 960? Okay, 0 to 240. From 240 height, okay, this is height, right? This is width. Okay, width has to be changed, height has to be constant. It should start drawing from here no matter what. 240, and then how much height we have come, that's known. How much width we have to go, that we have to determine. That we can determine obviously by, since we have made it half, we'll try to 1200 by 2, that is 600. We'll minus this offset width that way. 1200 minus 1200 divided by 2 is, since we are dividing it here by 2, we'll also divide it, the 1200 part with 2, that would be 600, and we'll only utilize that part from which this half is removed, and the 240 height should be fixed. Height should be fixed, width has to be changed. This is the original offset. Offset to be removed with we'll change the image. So whatever image that we have, I'm just trying to figure out how we can paste the two things. Now we have the offset way to start the drawing and everything. We have the title, we have the resized image as well. I think now we can create the canvas. We have to first generate an output before we know this. We do all this, we have to. Okay, so we have opened an image. We'll try to paste the same thing. Where did we write the image? Let's not disturb that. Just getting confused whether we have to use the same image to be changed, or okay, we'll do one thing. We'll create another image. The same way how we have created here. Create another image, paste that way. We'll use the canvas size directly instead of writing like this. Canvas size. We have the canvas size here. This should be the background color. Once we have this new image, which would be generally black, now we'll try to write this image. We'll write the resized image on top of this. Writing drawing is something called as paste. You're drawing an image, in another word, pasting the image on top of this image. But we'll make sure that we write it from the offset point so that we'll leave space on the top. Try to see how far this is working. Hopefully there should be some, this should be drawn from this point. Let's suppose the image is like this, it should start from here. saying resampling error. It is a warning. Okay. These all are warnings, but why did that stop? Unknown resampling error. Okay, okay. Okay, okay, okay. The the above two are warnings, but this seems to be an error. Okay, okay, I missed on the format. I see that the format has to be given as how we have written in the canvas, as in this way. Size must be tuple. We have resized and pasted, but we are not saving the file. We'll save that. So we'll save that as some name. Yeah, we can see how there is space left for us to draw the page image. So let's go further. Let's not stay here for long. We know that it's working. Now we will try to paste the new the other background output.jpg as well. We'll try to now that we have saved two images. One is the background and the other one is the facebook dot underscore post. We'll try to open the image and then use the same PIL image concept to write the offset for each offset uh, we'll try to configure the offset. Actually, we have already configured the offset. Let me not say that. We'll try to give the input parameter of the offset and draw both the images. So let's open first image. First image is the top image. Now we'll use the final canvas. Let this be the final canvas. By canvas, I just mean whatever, wherever we are trying to draw new images, stitch the images. That image, the base of that images is called. I'm calling it as canvas. We'll try to do it the same way, whatever we have done. Forgot post. Forgot to close the quotes. Same thing that we did. Paste the image from the top. Starting 0 by 0 point. From the height, from 0th width, height to 40, we are going to draw that. Let's save this. Yeah, whatever we have to save, we have to save. So this would contain the final image. Let's call it a stitched image. So as this comes up, so whatever we are trying to uh, do, we do not want to keep much storage in this. Even the storage is less. So once the image is created, if you see, each time we are not trying to store the image, we are rewriting on the same with the same image. That is, let's see, you can see it is getting, yeah, it is getting resized. Something is being written because of various reasons. The images were of mostly landscapes, so we are having much more space here, but we cannot judge on the kind of important details that might be necessary for each image. uh, that is too much of a manual effort since we are automating much of the things, so let's not try to, because even this is something as readable as it can be. Let's not reinvent the wheels and try to work on that kind of a edge case. Even this seems to be an okay thing to go about. So the reader won't find it uh, much more like a something that is as a reason to skip from our page and not to actually to hate the post, of course. But there might be only few cases where these kind of scenarios might come, because not every image is landscape while it is being taken by the photographers. And we are not storing any image, we are rewriting it. And also we would not want to store the image here, we'll store it in some other online other platform. So the other platform is Telegraph. So Telegraph uh, is a service of Telegram basically, where we can create in post or a blog post immediately with less setup and everything, where it might be, it's just like we have a title, we have an image, we just wanted to store it somewhere, and if we wanted to access it from some other point, we would have to, then we can at the end of it, it will give you an URL where we can revisit it whenever we want. Seems like the service is down. So this is a website. Okay, it seems like the website is down, but we'll see. Because anyway we are this way, so we can give a title, we can give an author, we can also add an attachment, and instantly when we click next, we will have an URL. But we are not, we do not want to interact with it directly on the website. We would be using an API, the API for it. Let's suppose we have one image, this stitched image that we have saved. We've already imported the request package, if you remember. So we'll try to post the image as well as uh, the title. A title is not required basically, only the image. And let title be not required. We can send, but that's not actually required because we have the title already in this variable here. Okay, now okay, let's send a post request. We'll open the image and then the mode should be read and RNB. We'll read the image. some f. We'll take that image file. We want to be we'll post it. For posting whatever we have, let me bring that URL. Okay, this is what seems to be the document. From what documentation says, this is the way we have to give the URL, the file name of the type of the file, and the JSON. We should be able to know that we should be able to get the URL right. So let's give it some name. Anyway, we are trying to convert it into data into JSON format. So this would contain the same way how we have used the where did we use the request here, how we saw the image response. We have actually printed the content. We got the status, we got the payload. Similarly, this JSON data would contain the same. What we can see, but then let's store the since we have been using file name, we'll store the endpoint of the URL. Oh, the URL should be, definitely it would start with yeah. Okay, so okay, it is only giving the endpoint. We need to create the concatenations. Okay, let's create the concatenation. It will start with telegraph followed by you can print if it's required. Write this as TURL, telegraph URL. Okay, in the meantime it comes, we'll move further. Once we have the image, we need the other things as well. We have the image, okay, we need the top message. Okay, we'll frame the message whatever is basically. If we write as a concatenation instead of writing plus plus each time, you can directly write the variable plus plus, or else variable. We can write the variable in form of flower brackets in between print. So that way we have to write the description. We'll give some so \n stands for next line. So this article URL is in Google News URL. To URL is the Telegraph URL. Seems like the website is down, but the API is not down. So good for us. Okay. You can see now that if I give this, we get this. Given we have the upgraded package, I mean we can increase this through buying this upgrade package, then we would not be in need of doing this. But yeah, not much of a effort to write, so let's use this method instead of paying for some more bucks. Okay, we have the image, we have the telegraph, we have the image. Let now we would want to post that into FB. We'll create one more definition for that. So before we can incorporate this, we would want to use the graph API of Facebook for this. We'll try to explain that part alone, and then we'll try to integrate it whatever we are learning. Okay, in this video we'll try to see how we can use Facebook graph API to post a photo and the message up on the top that we see in the status through graph API. Okay, let's get started. So this whatever we are trying to do, we are trying to do for Facebook pages. uh, we have to register in the developers page. This not of Google. Yeah, we have to get registered here. Okay, let me write my it is asking for SMS, so I'll try to give. I'm just typing the code that I got. Okay, once, and it would also ask for the email. Once everything is done, we'll go to the complete registration. Okay, now we have this interface. Basically, to use graph API we would require access tokens for that. So access token is the way where through which we can send a post request. By post request I mean uh, we would want to hit that endpoint giving a image, the necessary information of an image and a message, and then hit the URL through a post request, so that Facebook can receive that and and do things at its end, and post it on our Facebook page. Okay, so for that we would require their token for that, and these tokens comes up with a limit. So the limits as of we can find it in the documentations that we cannot have more than 200 requests per hour. So yeah, per hour or minute, I'm not sure. I just forgot. Yeah, within 1 hour we can only have 200. Okay, for that we can create each app. Let's suppose we are creating much more use cases for different apps. We can create different apps. Create an app. Okay, before that I forgot to create a page. I've created an account, but let me quickly create a page as well. Mm, Does Canada News JJKK? I am trying to create a page for Canada News, not Canada, sorry, Malayalam. Vartakal, seems like Vartakal. Okay, once we'll try to do the rest of the things later. Okay, we want it for other purpose. The other purpose is to be able to use pages, to use the graph API for pages to post things. Okay, now that we'll have this interface. We have our app ID. If you want, you can test this, whatever the get or post uh, endpoints, the endpoint which you want to hit with get or post, you can play around here. Okay, let's. So we want it for Malayalam news. So we have to give permissions basically for what. This is just asking for whether you want only this page has to have these permissions on the endpoint, or is it for everything. And pages dot, so we can, here you can choose permissions that you want to do. You you want to basically, let's suppose you want to only work with reading the contents, reading the engagement details, we only require this permission. But for now I would give permission for all, so that in future it might be useful for me. But based on your use case you can only choose accordingly. When this might be useful for you if you want to publish videos as well as your use case. And this is for page access token. We would want, can generate. So this was there as before, is only for the other purposes, not does not contain all permissions. So let's just grant those permissions. Since we have checked in for WhatsApp, Instagram use cases as well, so it is asking for rules for that. Now that we have generated, yeah, now you can see this. Where you can get other informations as well. This is the ID. Okay, we'll try with this endpoint. Let's. Okay, request to. Okay, it seems like we have all the options. So one thing I wanted to show you is we can copy this token, and there are other tools where we can get more information from this. If you paste this, I would not want to do this now. Okay, let's suppose I paste it, I get the whole information. And if you click on extend access, this will be only available for an hour, but if you click on extend access, it will be there for much more time. I think it's 2 months or 3 months. 3 months, I guess. 3 months from the day. So let me extend that. Yeah, it's till September, so for 2 months, around 2 months. Now we can use this. Uh, okay, let's create one definition for. Let's try to see how we can use this in Python. Given an given a photo and given a message, it should be able to put that post. So we'll try to bring one image. We need access token, we need the page ID, and then we basically you can refer to the documentation as well. I can give you the link. Basically this link where it tries to give you how the endpoint URL has to be created, and then hit. If you want to create a post, hit. You can give these parameters: URL, published, access token, and this. Okay, so let's try to do that using request module, request package in Python. Access token, we have page index. This is your page ID. Okay, I will use this for now, and then okay, we'll regenerate the token again. For time being, I will use this. I will make sure that I will regenerate and use this again. Let me get the URL from that. F basically tries to make sure that you can join the you can insert variables directly instead of trying to create plus plus and so on, and whatever the params that are required we would send that. We would require access token. We can actually hide this using OS Python module where we can keep the secrets and access the secrets thus. Even Replit allows you to do this. Secrets. We want the message. Then we want the URL. We'll try to use one have one we have an image here. We'll try to use this. Forward. We'll post it. We want to hit this endpoint with these parameters, but we also want to know the response of it. If the response dot status, so to understand for it went fine. Then if everything went well, we'll get the ID of the post. Otherwise we'll print what went wrong. Yeah, if it went well, we would want to print the results. Should we request? have to call after the function is defined. Okay, seems like I haven't given full permission for this page URL, this page user. That's why it's failing. Otherwise, it should work. Mm, I'm trying to use. Seems like some. Seems like we have created the page just now. That's, at last we got it. Seems like some issue at the we are able to post whatever with them message and everything. So this is how we can use Graph API. I will try to bring the same thing here. We'll go back now. Here we would want to implement that. For it, it requires two. One is a photo URL, that is t underscore URL, and the other one is the message. We'll copy paste the same thing that is there here. I'm just regenerating the token so that it'll regenerate. Okay, now that everything will work fine, now there is one thing that we want to do. We do not want to post the already posted thing. How we can manage that is that we'll create one JSON which will keep the titles of it, and will go through the whole process only if the title is not available in that JSON. Okay, how we can do that? We can do that by each time opening the file and getting the file content passed, and then checking if the title that is there here is already there. Okay, so how we will do that is, if we got the title, we'll check if title is not in scene underscore articles. But before that we would have to open will only whatever we have to open only once, will keep it at the top, just like our Chrome browser. I mean the Selenium browser. we'll open it just like how we opened the image files. We'll read it. We'll give the name as some file. Here we'll try to, so basically we would want to use DQ where we would insert any new title at the end. We'll limit it to only 500 articles at once. So once there is something that is added, it should remove the last one. So the very old article has to be removed, so we have to add at the front, so we will use DQ for that. Have it in collections package, import. Then we'll load. Yeah, okay. Get back, load the file, but then the maximum number of length should be 500. So it can allow 500 indexes inside it. Sometimes you're just handling the exception case. Now that we have seen articles, it will check if the article is not there, then only proceed further. So whatever we are doing down, has to be inside it, otherwise it will leave. But instead of just leaving, we'll try to, and also whenever we are something is successful, we would have to add that as well. After posting, we'll add that into the queue with open. we should not read now, we should write now. We'll create the JSON dump and put the list. This is the top, else if that is not there, then we can print like article is, we'll write small so that it would be useful. This just basically means article is already published. Okay, we haven't imported JSON. There we are only now. Okay, so everything seems to be fine. We'll check if the article is not there, then we have to append the article in that. So it's basically a list which performs as a DQ, where once we have append, we have to append the title. Once we append the title, it will flow into the list, and the last and the oldest of the article will get, oldest article's title will get removed. Okay, done. One more thing that we have to do is this gets, we'll check this will work. Oh no, it should be Malayalam, but things work now. JSON article must be article. And in the meantime, this does something is that. So let's complete with this. And we have to limit the number of times this does. So each time will we don't want to play with the limits wrongly and get the account suspended. So we'll give enough space for each article. Anyway, we would not find articles that frequently. It is trying to 1 minute ago. Okay, this seems to be working. We will try to enhance this more. But this has to always happen. So we'll keep this under true. And we'll bring back. Let's do it for all the. We'll bring this back. They will get client here. I, we'll have it for business. We'll have it for world. We'll have it for nation. We'll have it for first. And after everything is done, we'll wait for 5 more minutes. Otherwise, this gets heated up as we saw many times that there was a pop-up that many of the resources have been used already, and also it's so rare that we'll find news articles every other minute. Okay, that's it for the video. What this keep alive does is, this is some replet script that is required, where we can create one more, and it will create our REPL as a using Flash. We will try to open one endpoint and keep hitting with some other external service, so that this always keeps running. Basically this goes, though we have kept everything in while loop, this goes to sleep after some time, which we do not want. We'll import that. This is one other service that I generally use to hit that endpoint. Here we will hit through HTTPS. It is Malayalam. We have this open endpoint now. Now this will keep hitting it for every 5 minutes, so that this will wake up. So that's it for the video. Now what this can be used is that once we grow on our audience, we can make the audience to pay for some other products or affiliate marketing that we can do on that page. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye, see you in the next video.